view, I think.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So first page. All right. Perfect. So Sam just talked about the discussion topic. So yeah, we'll introduce ourselves and then we'll go over overall branding and marketing and get into social media, websites, and then some tools you can use.
So my name is Samantha Hipolito. I am a graduate student of Northern Arizona University in the Sustainable Communities program. My research is perceptions of food security within farmers and growers on the Navajo Nation. I'm still completing it, so I'm hopefully done soon. I'm also a public relations coordinator for North Country Healthcare, which is a community health center here in Northern Arizona. And I'm also a part of the Northern Arizona Rural Foods Pathway Project, which I got introduced to from the Sustainable Communities program, where I help with marketing.
And Sam is a great brander, and all of the logos and things you see for the event and the food summit, Sam did. So she's all about the color customization and using those brand tools. So my name is Tina Gustafson. I own Elevated Gardening, and I'm based in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I do customized garden consultations, garden designs. I just recently opened up my seed shop that specializes in high altitude grown seeds in my family's gardens in both Albuquerque and Flagstaff. And so my hope is to expand that out and develop more high altitude adapted seeds to grow food for us and our pollinators. So after this, we'll kind of jump into what's your why? Why is this important to you? Why is branding important for your business? And honestly, branding and marketing are so important because if you don't tell people what you do and what you offer, they really just won't know. And so I know sometimes people have a hard time putting themselves out there and kind of marketing and advertising for themselves, but otherwise just people will not know. So it is essential to do it for our businesses, whether it's unfortunate or not.
I love that you mentioned that, Tina, because I've actually worked with it from a non viewer perspective, but working with people who are trying to find their own why. And I think it's actually such an important question to even ask ourselves, because it's we're doing what we do for a reason, and it's because we love it. So like you said, to share our story about what our why is, and we have all that information and the knowledge to share that. So it's a great way to just start sharing your story and how everything's just started.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you want to pop to the next slide.
Oh, we can share our whys.
Exactly. And we can get into why is it important.
Oh, perfect.
And
so again, this one? Yep.
Yeah, the why is it important. Yeah, so if you haven't already thought about why you're doing what you're doing, that is kind of your first step to figuring out your brand and your marketing trajectory. And so once you figure out why you're doing what you're doing, the values behind it, what kind of inspires you to be in the business you're in. I know we have so many different listeners, so it's hard to be be a food producer or do this, because we have just so many wide varieties of people. But identify your why. And then from there, you get into developing your brand identity, because you know your why. And then when people start to resonate with your why and your values and get to know you as a person, then it creates brand loyalty. And then you can figure out how to attract more clients like that. And so it just kind of all comes back to, why are you doing what you're doing? Anything else to add in there, Sam?
No, I think I said it on the other side.
Okay, cool. If we want to go to the next one.
So this is just a quick little example I threw in here of branding and marketing. So for North Country Healthcare, I'm a big person on staying on brand. So when I have to share our logo or a letterhead, I always make sure the image is locked, because I don't want our logo to be distorted or the colors off, or kind of have it misrepresented in our communities. So on the top photo, I have a screenshot of a little image on our website, and it basically has all our website colors that we've been using and our logos, like the orange and green. And for anyone who's like planning to use like Canva, or like volunteers or interns we have who work for like some of our outreach programs, I like created this color guide to make sure we're all on brand and using the same colors, like no matter who's creating the format. So it's just like a quick little cheat sheet for me.
That's great. And that's part of branding too. And we'll talk a little bit about some tools in a little bit you can use. But they help you figure out your branding guides with your color schemes and all of that. And all of this was extremely foreign to me like a year ago. So just diving into it, there's a pretty big learning curve, and that's totally okay. Like, ask people what they've done, what's inspired them, and I'm sure too Sam would be happy to give some tips because she's great at this stuff.
Thanks, Tina. I think we all have like our pros and cons, and like creativity and design, I would love to say is like a pro, and writing is like definitely a con.
Yeah, I hear that. And it's opposite for me. And so that works because we work together on these projects, right?
Yes.
And so that's too. It's collaborating with people who have different strengths than you and being involved in your community. So the next section is kind of knowing your audience. So once you've kind of figured out your why and your brand, you think about who your ideal client would be. What would their values be? Would they align with yours? Would they be different? Once you kind of have that picture of that person in your mind, think about what kind of problems that they might have that you can specifically target and say, hey, I have a solution to that problem. Let me help you solve it. And then the next important part is niching down. This has been a thing that has been told to me many times, but if you're talking about everything, you're talking about nothing. And so it's really difficult to reach people when you have a super broad scope and advertise and market with like everything you're interested in. So say I have a business page and I also post about my cats, or I also post about like how much I love my family. Like some of those things are good to get some insight into who I am as a person, but if they start to overwhelm your page or distract from your brand and your business, then maybe just put them on your personal page and focus on something else for your business. Anything else to add for knowing your audience, Sam?
No, I think we're going to talk a little bit more about it later, so I'll add it then.
Perfect. Okay, and next, I think we are jumping into social media and its platforms, which I know will probably ruffle some feathers. But really knowing how to use them effectively is super important for our business in the current day and age, whether we like it or not. If you want to go to the next one, Sam, we can chat about some different platforms. So two that I'm sure most of you are familiar with are Instagram and Facebook. Instagram has almost 1.5 billion users, and Facebook has almost 3 billion. So just think about how much reach you could get with just using these social media platforms. And I know the algorithm is tough and there are lots of things that can go against you, but there are so many ways to use it to your advantage. And here we kind of go into what platform works for different uses. So Instagram has really turned into a great place to direct market your product, honestly. You can grow brand awareness by putting a lot of different things of what you offer and your personality and your values, and then also introducing new products. Facebook is not as much about marketing and brand awareness. It's kind of more about an interaction with people you know, like your friends and your family. You definitely can make your business pages and interact that way. And so what I've noticed, at least with mine, is that it's a lot of like my friends and family sharing what I post. And then, it's a great way to connect with other groups specific to your niche. So I'm in a lot of gardening groups on Facebook for Flagstaff in Northern Arizona and connect with people there. And that's a good way to kind of bring a little bit of brand awareness. But overall, Facebook's algorithm is very much against trying to market and sell your products. So just kind of know that going into it. And what is also fascinating is Facebook now, I think, has rebranded to be Meta, and they own both Instagram and Facebook. And so, yes, they control both platforms, but they definitely still function differently. And then getting into TikTok. There's 1 billion users on TikTok. It is one of the biggest up and coming social media apps that honestly I was very against using for a very long time and only recently joined like last July. I think I already have like 4,500 followers on there from just like posting these reels and videos that I've used on Instagram mostly, but it's connected me with a whole different group of people that I would not have had access to otherwise. And so I think just being open to looking at different social media platforms as beneficial ways for your business is going to be good. Now, we'll get into like how often you have to post and all of that good stuff, but TikTok and Instagram are really turning into like a visual platform of using a lot of videos, reels specifically, and pictures and things to get your point across. So if you want to write blogs, these are not your platforms.
Tina, I have to totally agree with you about like the whole like staying open-minded, because I personally like I love Instagram. I love the creativity you can put. I love like having an aesthetic. Like it's just very pleasing for me, like you said, a visual platform. But like going back to like knowing your audience, it was like so hard for me to like think of like put my work hat on and be like, well, like what is my audience like? Like not all of them like love Facebook, and it's Instagram, and it's like going back to like you're niching down like whatever's on Instagram I don't always have to put on like Facebook or vice versa. And like I had to personally find out that like my audience only likes Facebook, and then it was like a lot of research and like going into their age demographics and then like their gender and like what they all prefer. So social media platforms and knowing your audience really go hand in hand.
Definitely. And once you do that, kind of bring some insight to how you create your different profiles on these platforms. So definitely go for a business or creator type profile, because it will give you a lot of analytics that give you these insights into demographics, like who is joining your page, where are they from, and kind of like how to market to these people better. And I know it just gets into it can definitely get into a lot of like the nitty gritty details, but don't let it bog you down. Just know that it's a tool there for you to use if you get there and feel comfortable using it later on down the line. Okay. So next I'm just going to do a little bit of a more detail on Instagram for your business. So that's mostly what I use for elevated gardening, honestly. So that's where I had it as mainly a gardening page, but I transitioned it into my business gardening page. And so I optimized it and started using it you can see from the photos here, to announce my seed shop, my online seed shop, to kind of show my brand details, to get people excited with this little sticker that I include with any seed orders. And so you want to definitely treat your profile as a business profile. So when you're kind of describing who you are, what you do, use it as like in that little bio description, treat it as a business card. So you want to optimize your bio and your description and really tell people who you are and what you can do for them. And tell them where you are. Because often I go to a business page and I'm like, are they in Flagstaff? Are they not? I don't know where they are. And then I try to find their location on some pictures. And so just make it as easy as you can for people, because people just don't want to work hard at some things like this. And then I've found it really fun to use as a way to get feedback from people, to kind of guide what I post and what kind of information and workshops and things I provide for people. I like to ask them questions. And so a fun way to do that is in the stories function of Instagram. You kind of post a question and see what kind of feedback you get. And then it helps you develop more content and attract more people who would benefit from your services. And the most important part, I think, in any social media platform is adding value. And so if you're just kind of like posting like, I did this today, that's great, but you can give more. Like, tell them why this was like influential to you, or why this was so important that you did this today. Give them a little insight into your business. Give them some tutorials on something. I found in getting following a lot of those Instagram coaches and telling people how to run their social media platforms, they're like, you have to give something to even like get somebody to follow you. And so it's kind of a tit for tat, it's like you have to give something to them to get something back, is in like any kind of interaction. I think it's building your community. And I think if you keep that in mind the whole time, it becomes a lot more fun, because you're interacting with people who love what you do, and you hopefully love what you do. And so it can just get, it doesn't have to be as overwhelming as we make it sometimes. I obviously can go on and on about this, but I am not going to go into Instagram anymore, because we have some more to talk about. So we can move on, but then answer more questions later on in the comments if you have them. Do you want to talk about websites, Sam? Do you want to jump into that first?
Yeah. So I would not call myself a coder at all, even though that would be a skill set I would love to have. But that just makes it easier, because then I can relate to everyone.
Yeah.
That a website creation is actually very easy, even though it can seem intimidating. So here's just like a few examples. So Northern Arizona Rural Foods Pathways Project now has a website, and I utilized Wix for that. And then at the bottom, you can see that Tina has a website for elevated gardening, and she utilized Squarespace. So what I loved about using Wix, it was just a common one like I known of, and like in school we would have to like submit assignments using a blog post, and I had to create that on Wix. So that's why I chose Wix for RFPP. But I also liked it because it was very user friendly. Like there's a lot of templates you can go off of. There's a lot of like creative freedom, like changing colors, adding photos. They have like stock photos you can use. They have like icons. They have a lot that you can actually do on like the free package. And then of course there's like affordable add-ons you can do to make it like a premium website. And then Wix made it very easy to like buy your own URL, and the whole process was just very easy. But I'll let Tina go and talk about Squarespace.
Yeah, so getting into some just options for platforms, I'm thinking about, so I was a TA for an English class in San Diego like almost 10 years ago. I'm aging myself, but at that point, I was teaching them how to create like a one-pager website based on something they were really interested in. Wix was one of them, and there are a couple others. But 10 years ago, the technology was way behind what we're at now, and so it is so user-friendly. So if you don't have a one-pager, like a one-page website yet, it is absolutely necessary, because when people go and try to look at your business or book your services or buy something from you, they want to see that you have a website, because it makes you more credible and it gives them more information about you. And websites, like Andrea was talking about before, are a great way to funnel in people into your mailing list, into your email list. And so once you have them in your email list, you have them on your platform and you contact and reach them directly. And so you don't have to go through another social media app to get to them. You can just email them and then track the stats there. So websites are great for that. Squarespace is what I use personally. It is a paid subscription, but it's not super expensive. I think there are different tiers. And the reason why I wanted Squarespace is because it also provided a way for people to purchase things and check out. And so with my seed shop, it was really convenient. And it has been a really nice interface for like buying individual things and seeing how that platform works for on the buyer's end, but also on my end for like printing labels and doing all the logistics that I never really thought I would have to do. So Squarespace is great, makes those things easy, and they have really, really great customer service that is like the fastest I've ever encountered. So I've liked it quite a bit. It took me, I made my whole website, and I have like 4, 5, 6 different pages for people, like landing pages. And I think it took me about a week, a very intense week, but it took me a week. So if I can do it, honestly, anyone can do like a one pager. Okay. Oh yeah, a comment. Crystal says you can't use a domain name on a free version. Yeah, so that kind of gets into the weeds on websites. Is you need a domain name, and so basically you have to make sure the website name that you want is available in a domain platform to be able to purchase. So that you would have to purchase, and then the Wix website would be like the hosting platform for it. So theoretically, you would only have one payment in that situation.
Yeah, I think on the free version before we paid for the domain, on the Wix one, our URL was like NAZ, like wix.com/NAZ info. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense. So if you don't mind the Wix in there, then it is free. Okay, I think we are slowly reaching our time. So this is one of the last sections, but marketing and branding tools can be really great for your business. They make it so much easier. You don't have to do everything all by yourself. Just know that, like, you are not alone, and there are tools for you to make your life easier. So some of the tools here we'll dive into, but MailChimp, Hootsuite, Canva, Linktree, Eventbrite, those are all kind of nice branding tools that you can use in your business. And if you want to go to the next slide, Sam, we can get into some details. Do you want to cover some of those and talk about why you like them?
Yeah. I'm obsessed with Canva. Canva's like my best friend. In school, I had to like learn Adobe, and but it wasn't like full Adobe classes because I wasn't in like graphic designing or anything. I like learned the basics, but I love Canva because it's like basically all in one of everything I learned from Adobe. Like Photoshop would have to be for like if I wanted to remove the background of a logo. But now with like Canva Premium, you just like upload a photo, put it in Canva, automatically removes the background for you. There's so many templates you can use for anything like flyers, brochures, Instagram stories, Instagram reels, so many fonts. I love that with the premium version of Canva, you can also upload like your branding kit. So you can like insert all your colors, insert all your fonts, and your logos. And it's always going to be there every time you create something. And that's why I personally love Canva.
And P.S. Sorry, there's a car behind us. But P.S. This PowerPoint template was a template from Canva. So like, honestly, it makes your life so much easier. Like it's a plug and play. And Sam introduced me to Canva last year, and I've been using it ever since, and it makes so much sense. Like, the free version is great. The paid version, I think, is only $10 a month or so. So it's also super affordable. I too am a big fan of Canva. And I can chat about Eventbrite a bit. So I've used it for some of my workshops and other events and things. And it's an event management and ticketing website where basically people can look for different events in your area, and they can pay on the platform. And what's nice is that the buyer of the tickets or workshops is actually paying the platform fee, and so it doesn't go back to the host, which I can appreciate too, because it adds up, especially when you get a lot of people buying tickets. So Eventbrite is also nice. It allows you to like upload something that you made in Canva as your image, and a really nice description, and it's pretty user friendly for setting up events too. So I like those quite a bit.
I forgot to mention for Canva, if you are a nonprofit, you can apply and actually get Canva Premium for free as well.
That's nice.
Yeah. And another fun fact about Canva is I just love it because you can like make a team on there. So like since Tina and I collaborate a lot, like we didn't have to like meet in person to like brainstorm and like put this whole project together. Like we could each log in or use our own accounts and just collaborate in making this PowerPoint together from afar.
Exactly. I don't have any experience with Hootsuite, so do you want to chat about that one too, Sam?
Yeah, Hootsuite's my favorite platform I use for work. So Hootsuite originally was just like a scheduling tool, but now it's expanded so much. So Hootsuite can hold all your social media accounts, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. It's pretty much on Hootsuite, and you can schedule all your posts, and it will send it out for you. Hootsuite helps you like reformat your posts. I personally like Hootsuite for work because I can make a team, and if I have like volunteers and interns from school that's helping work, and I know they're only here for like a semester, instead of them giving them like the keys to the city and like holding all our social media account handles and passwords, I can just like make them a member of our team on Hootsuite, and they can just post from there instead of having like the original password. And it's nice because I'm a little like nitpicky with some posts, so I can also choose to like be the like admin and then have to like approve all posts before actually they go live.
Yeah, that's super helpful, especially if you're building a team. And something to keep in mind with all of these things too is if you try them out yourself and you don't like them, like know that once you expand a little bit more, outsource them. Like hire somebody else to do these things for you.
Right.
But it's good to know that these tools exist to get you started. So going into the next one, and we are going to finish up here soon because I know we are coming up on our time. But MailChimp is really nice for email marketing, and you get to manage your mailing lists and kind of create different email campaigns from it. I use the free version. There's a paid option too, which I haven't gotten into. But I create campaigns, and then you can kind of track your stats on who opened it, where they're from, and how they're interacting with you. So that's a really nice way, again, to funnel folks into your direct email and then communicate them on your platform and in that way. So I like MailChimp quite a bit for that.
Lastly, we have Linktree. I love Linktree. I just discovered it last year. It's basically, I noticed like when you go to Instagram and you would be like link in bio, you can only have one link in there. And sometimes I would want to like post like a blog, but I also still want my website. So Linktree is awesome because you can put multiple links on this like platform. It's like a little landing page for all your links, and you'll just have to have one link in your bio, and that one link brings you to all the other links.
Yeah, it's super helpful, especially like you said for Instagram, where they were like, you can only use one link here. So it kind of gets around that issue. Okay, so if we want to go to the next slide, these are kind of some of the takeaways that we hope that you've gotten from what we've chatted about today. You want to make sure you stay on brand. So know what your brand is about, know your values, and be able to convey that to your clients. Try to use social media. Social media marketing can be a really great platform with low cost to reach and engage a lot of people. Honestly, that is where I do most of my engagement and advertising. I don't use any paid advertising at this point. I just use a lot of tools like Reels to get your reach to a wide amount of people, interacting with the community that stays with me, and just continuing to ask questions of them and engage. And I think it's really important to build your community in that way too. And again, these are such low costs that aside from the time you put in, which is a very high cost, but the monetary cost is low if you don't use any paid advertisement. And then use tools to make it easier. So hopefully some of these tools will help you think about how you can streamline your process and batch your work. I don't know if people have heard that before, but batching your work, like doing a lot of one thing all at once and then using all of that work and spreading it out across like a week or two. So like do all of your email marketing campaign in like 2 hours one week, instead of like, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow, or I'll do 10 minutes here. It's like, it's be the master of your calendar and you will work smarter and not harder.
I love that.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's hard to do. You can make your calendar and have really good intentions. And I think having it there and knowing what you have to do is helpful. I definitely don't stick to my calendar, but it does help quite a bit. So calendars are also important. That is a tool that you should absolutely use in your business. Okay. I think that's all we got today. And I hope we didn't go too far over, but if folks have questions, let us know in the comments. And I think there's a little question box too. I think we have some comments in here. Any last comments, Sam, you have?
I do not.
Okay. All right, let's see. I know I asked folks where they're tuning in from. I love seeing where you all from. I do social media promotions. Okay. Sorry, I'm catching up on this. TikTok is fantastic. Yeah, it's creativity and relevance are huge for creators. Absolutely. Relying on your younger colleagues to learn about trends is also helpful. Yeah, definitely. Collaborate with people. Use them, know their strengths, know yours, and then figure out how you can work together. Jamie says, I like Asana for free online organization and planning. That's a good one too. Okay, did I miss any questions? There was one question. Let's see. Facebook in Missouri. Okay, so are there any other options for social media in a remote area? Is that the kind of question you're asking, Anne? I hope I'm reading that right. I think Darren responded with direct mailers might be the only option. And then finding community partners, you can putting up flyers. Yeah, rural spots are a little bit harder, but they're definitely still theoretically doable. And Facebook is a great tool. I'm going to mute myself while this car is behind me. So Sam, if you want to comment anything.
Which question are you on?
I think I'm only seeing one question in the main box that we got. Anne is a master gardener doing special food programs with their university extension on rural food security and sustainability for farmers. All of our rural papers have closed down. We are only left with Facebook, which some cannot use or don't have great internet connections. Do you have any ideas? They have one local radio, but not all listen. And I think Darren had a good option with using direct mailers. Mm-hmm. I think also collaborating with other local community groups. Try to see if they have any like monthly meetings. I know like at least in Flagstaff, the Master Gardeners have a monthly meeting where they have presentations and then a section for announcements. Maybe there's like a neighborhood association you can get in contact with and see if you can advertise in their flyers or advertise in their email lists. But I think email lists are also a really great way to get on there, and different listservs, like maybe a local school or university. Those would be good to contact and connect in the community too.
I think another good one is I work a lot with the smaller communities for North Country Healthcare, and a lot of them don't have a lot of radio or newspaper options in the community. So I always try to like reach out to the Chamber of Commerce too to see what they can do to help get the word out. And like online like community boards, like Flagstaff has a community event board online somewhere.
That's a great option. Chamber of Commerce, any kind of city or county marketing too. Most cities and counties do a little bit of marketing, so maybe get in contact with them and see if you can share your information or get the word out that way too. Sam, are you seeing any other questions in here that we didn't answer?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. This was super fun, and I hope we helped you think about how to use branding and marketing and social media for your business. All right. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Tina. Bye.